Hello, this is Robin with Simple Food, Simple Life. Look, doesn't this look scrumptious? This is scraps and it's frozen solid. I had, well, except for this, and this is what I used today. But now look, see what this is? This is frozen chicken bones because I had baked some chicken and I put it in a bag because I was going to save it to make some broth. And then what you see interspersed in here is odds and ends of vegetables. That's peel, that's onions, that's all sorts of stuff. So I've got the bones, I've got the skin from the chicken, I've got some vegetable scraps, and I'm going to make some broth. So to make it easy on myself, because, you know, I want to make it easy and keep it simple, I'm going to put it in my crock pot, got it in there. I'm going to cover it with water. I'm not going to put any other spices in there or anything for now because my chicken was seasoned pretty good. And I'm going to plug it in, put that lid on there. I'm going to put it on high until I go to bed tonight because it's only about 5:30 in the evening. Oh, don't you hate that it gets dark so soon? I do. And then tomorrow morning, or before I go to bed, I will put it on low. And then in the morning, I will get up to some delicious, delicious broth. Okay? So, I'll show you what it looks like in the morning. But don't worry, you don't have to look at me because I don't look that great in the morning. Okay. All right. See you in the morning. Good morning. I'm back. Listen, this is what we've got. I'll take the lid off and show you. I haven't even taken the lid off yet. So let's take a look. It looks a lot different than that frozen mass, doesn't it? All right. Now, you can see there's chicken bones. That's a leg bone, I think. What I had was, I got to thinking, I thought maybe I didn't tell you exactly what I had. I had baked some chicken thighs and chicken legs because they were real inexpensive. And some were eaten, and the rest of them I took the meat off the bone, and I put those bones in a freezer bag. Now I froze the bones and the skin for future broth, and that's what you see here. And you can see there's a piece of onion. What I do is I just take the bits and pieces of vegetables, onions, carrots, celery, and the onion skins, even the onion skins, because that really makes a beautiful color and adds lots of flavor to the broth. Now, I'm going to strain this, and then I will come back and I'm going to show you what I have after it is strained. So this has been in the crock pot all night. I had it covered with water and the water came up to about there. And so you can see that it does lose some, and that's perfectly fine. That's going to make the broth more concentrated and delicious. So I'm come back. I'm going to show you what we have, and I think that you will be surprised. And this was really no work whatsoever. So I'm going to be right back, and we'll look at it. I happen to think of something. I want to show you how I strain this, because I think it's kind of dangerous if you take this heavy crock pot and you pick it up and you take it to the sink over a colander or whatever and you dump that. This stuff is hot, and it's a good way to burn yourself. And so I'm just going to show you what I do. I've got a bowl here, and I've got a straining utensil. So I'm just going to hang on here a second. I forgot something important. I wanted to put my colander inside my bowl because I don't want to lose any of this good broth. So basically all I do is I just take the strainer and I just pick out, you know, just pull out some of the scraps that are left, and then I just put it in my colander. And then the bowl is there to catch whatever liquid comes off of the scraps. So that's all I'm going to do. And then when that part is done, it makes it easier to dispose of all of these because they're in a colander. I haven't splattered myself or burned myself or anybody else. And that's just a good way to do it. I'm going to continue with this process. It doesn't take very long. And then I will show you the next step. All right, now you can see that's pretty good. And pretty cleared out. But it is going to need to be strained, so I have a mesh strainer for that. Now, you can see right here are the scraps that are left, and these are going to get thrown away. Finally, they're going to get thrown away. And lift this up, and you can see that there's some broth that is drained out from there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let this sit and just let all the liquid that's left in these parts drain out, and then I'm going to return that liquid back to the crock pot. And then I'll show you the next step. Now then, what I have is my mesh strainer and a bowl. And I'm just going to take the broth and I'm gonna run it through the strainer. Now, I could take this to the sink and just dump it out and it would be done. If you want to do that, that's fine. But this is still hot, and I want to get this, you know, I want to get it done. I could let it cool off and take it to the sink. I could do all that, but I want to be safe. So you can see the mesh strainer is taking out even more of the scraps, and this broth is going to be very beautiful and ready to go. Now, what I'll do, I'll just take this and I will put it, store it in some glass canning jars or mason jars, and I will pop this in the refrigerator and use it for various things. If I don't use it right away and I can see that I'm not using it fast enough, then I always have the option to freeze it. What I like to do is I have some ice cube trays, and I will take those ice cube trays, are just spare ones, and so I just simply pour the broth in there and freeze broth cubes and store it in a freezer bag, and it works absolutely beautifully. And I know, because I measured it, that 2 cubes equal 1/4 cup of liquid. Oh, that's a little too precise. Okay, now I did taste this, and it tastes absolutely wonderful, but it needed some salt, so I put some salt in there. And the reason I didn't add any spices or herbs or anything, I never know whether to say herbs or herbs. Martha Stewart says herbs, so I don't know. Well, I guess it's however you want to say it. Anyway, I just didn't add anything to this because when I cooked the chicken, the chicken thighs I seasoned them with lemon pepper and salt and pepper, and then the legs, I just used some garlic and onion and salt and pepper. Oh, and I had paprika on the thighs too, so that sounded weird. Okay, never mind. Anyway, that's how I did it. So I didn't really think it really needed any flavoring, and consequently, it doesn't. So all it needed was some salt, and because salt makes food taste good, and I needed a little bit of pepper in there, so I put that in there. So you can see that's what we've got. And because I did that first little strain there, we don't have that much. So it really, you know, makes a nice, beautiful, beautiful broth, and this is a good way to do it. Okay, gonna finish up, show you what I got. Looky here. I've got exactly 3 quarts of homemade chicken broth. And it tastes beautiful. I wish you could smell my kitchen right now. And you know what? It's not quite 8 o'clock in the morning because I did it in the crock pot. So you don't have to steam up your kitchen. You don't have to stand over a kettle. You can just make a beautiful broth in your crock pot using what you have. And let me tell you, Thanksgiving is tomorrow, believe it or not. And when you have that leftover carcass from the turkey or whatever meat you've had, save those bones because you can definitely make broth out of it. Just put it in a gallon freezer bag. You can take your vegetable scraps, put them in the same bag. You don't need a separate one if you don't want to. And just simply freeze them, and when the bag is full, make broth. That's all I did. That's all I did. And it's absolutely delicious. Make it your own. Now, I want to show you something. You see this little rim up here? That's the fat from the broth that is coming to the top of the liquid. When you put that in the refrigerator, for those of you who don't know, that will congeal. The fat will float to the top. It will become hard. Now, if you want to remove that fat before you do anything with your broth, by all means do. It's your preference. If you don't want to remove it, that's fine too. If you remove it, you can discard it or you can save it, which is what I do, and it makes a perfect fat to cook with. I know. It's not, you know, always acceptable, but it's an old tried and true method, and it's been used for centuries and centuries. So it's up to you. It's whatever you want to do. Okay? All right. Listen, I love you. You know I do. And if I can do this, you can do this. So don't throw your things, your scraps away. Look at them in a whole new way and try to figure out what you can do with them. Okay? All right. I love you. And you just remember that little is much when God is in it. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.